Hello everyone. So in this video we will see what is JWT token and how you can do this token based authorization in web-based transactions, right? Like these API endpoint calls and all the client server relationships. Okay, so let me try to simply explain what actually happens. Okay, so in traditional methodologies, okay, in normal ways, okay, before the JWT token, what has been used in this client server transaction is a session token, let's say. Okay, right. So what happens with the session tokens is, so sorry guys, it's not called session token, it's called session ID. Okay, so what happens with the session ID is, first I will tell how the session ID is being used and then the JWT tokens. So before anything else, we should know why these things are needed. Since JWT token, session ID and everything. Okay, so let's say you are trying to log in into Google, okay, using your Gmail. Okay, I'm just saying it may not be the exact way it is. How do you log in? You give your username and password, right? As a client, username and password. Then once you logged in, you are trying to access something. Let's say you are trying to get your photos, or you are trying to delete the data from your account, things like that. So every time you are doing it, you are sending a network call, right, as a client. Okay, so this Google Gmail, when you log in, you give the username and password, but when you are going to get your photos or deleted data, it is sending a separate network call. So it has to authorize you again and again, okay, who is this guy, or whether he can get these photos, or whether he can delete a particular record. So for that, it always needs your username and password, okay, so that it can log in and make sure he's the guy. So let's say Jack, so he's Jack because his username is correct and password is correct. So let's show him the photo, so let's delete the data from his account. So but for doing that, you have to send the username and password every times. Okay, so that will be a pain to you, right? You don't do normally like that, right? Even though you are doing it correct, you don't send the username and password every time. You have to, but actually, so that is an issue, right? User is getting bored, okay, getting tired. What is this? Every call, network call, I send these things. Okay, so for that only, or to resolve this issue, they have come up with the session ID and JW token solutions. So first let's start what the session ID does. Okay, so that you don't have to give your username and password or credentials every time when you go for a network call or whatever it is. Okay, when you go for get or delete or post or whatever. Okay, so let me draw. Okay, let's say this is client. Okay, or the user. Okay, client. Okay, CLI means clients. Okay, so this is the server, this is Google. Forgive me for my drawing because you know it's hard with the paint. Okay, this is server. Then first time you try to log in. Okay, so you send your username and password in the Google interface, right? Username and password. Okay, then let's say Google has a database, okay, where it does this verification. It takes your username and password and see whether both are correct or not, okay, in the database or table, and it says okay, he is passed, he is existing, he is the correct user and correct password. Okay, and Google say okay, he is authenticated, the user is fine. Okay, then what Google does is it will say or Google or whatever the server, it will say, oh, maybe Google is not doing the exact thing. Okay, I'm just saying Google as an example. It will say okay, I have to give him a session ID, okay, because he doesn't have to come again and again with the username and password. So it will create a session ID, some secret key value, let's say A10, okay, C253, something like that number. Okay, a very big number, like 15 digits or 16 digits, something like that number. Okay, it creates a session ID And also, while it's creating the session ID, let's say it has another table in database. In this database, it will see, okay, he is authorized, okay, and I have created a session ID for him. Let's add both here, okay, and it will say, okay, he is the username, this is the username, and maybe he will have an ID for now, maybe user ID, okay, user ID, and this is his session ID. I will type as SID, session ID, and maybe it can have another thing as his role. Maybe he's, I'm just saying he's admin. Google doesn't have those things maybe, but let's say his role is admin. That means he can do specific things. If his role is user, he may not do everything, he can do only some things. Okay, so the role is user or admin, all these things are assigned. Okay, this session ID also added here. Okay, something like that, just think like that. Okay, now once you Google added it, what it will do is it will return you, okay, it will return you the session ID, okay, and it will say, okay, to the server or client, okay, this is a session ID, keep it with you, you will need it hereafter every time you send us a request. Okay, you don't have to type username and password, so keep it. Or you can think your browser can keep the session ID or something like that, and hereafter, let's say you are sending your network calls. Okay, let's say you are trying to get some photos or deleted data, you are trying to do such things. Okay, let's say now I am trying to access my photos. Okay, so now I'm sending another request to Google or Gmail or whatever. Now I am sending a get request, right, because I am trying to access my photos. Let's say this is get request along with my session ID. Okay, session ID. Okay, session ID is stored in the browser because it is a temporary ID, so nothing wrong in storing it. It may have some expiry time, after that it will expire. Okay, so it may, right, so nothing wrong, it can be stored because it is not like username password. You can't store your username and password, right, but you can store the session ID. Every time it will go and bring it back. Okay, maybe you can log out, the session ID may be expired after that, or you can you know, so that it cannot be reused again. Okay, next time you log in, you will get a new session ID, so it's safe to keep it in the browser side or client side. So now let's say you are sending it with the get the session ID. Now Google gets the session ID, or the server gets the session ID and also the get endpoint, and it will come and check the session ID in this table. Okay, okay, he will find the session ID, and maybe along with the session ID some of the user data may be also sent. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, just don't worry. So then it will check the user, okay, user ID, and okay, role admin. Okay, and it will find, okay, he's an admin or he's a user and session ID is correct. Then okay, he's the user and the user ID, role is fine, everything is fine, so it will go to the database. So there's still a question whether I'm not sure the user data, the user or user roles will be coming back through this. I think it will not be, but I'm not sure about that, right? I accept that. Anyway, try to understand the full architecture, even though this is a confusing part that I was saying is not clear to me, even though try to get the full picture of what is happening here. Then since it is verified here, session ID is passing, that means he has the correct session ID, that means he is the correct user. Okay, now he is verified because I gave the session ID, Google gave the session ID, and Google what will do is it will have another table where it can have the person's username and his photos. Now since you are verified with the session ID, Google may return you the photos that you have requested since you are verified. Okay, so this is how the session ID works. Okay guys, so we will continue this from the next video, guys. Hello everyone, so this is the continuity of the last video where we were looking into the session ID thing. So once your user authentication is verified using this session ID, then obviously using your username or user ID or whatever, since because you have this table, right, whatever, then your request will be analyzed. Okay, then okay, your authorized person your role will be accepted, okay, admin or user who can uh, see the photos, get the photos, and the photos will be accessed from another table from the database, and it will be returned back to you. Okay, so that means you only gave your username and password, then no matter how many requests you are sending, you are always sending your session ID. Then your session ID will be validated here, and your role or other things may be validated from this table. Okay, and then the respective get or delete or post table will be accessed from the database, and the data will be returned, or you can edit something, right? Or you can either modify the data, okay, every time. So you can send any number of, okay, I'll type this is a photo. Okay, you can send any number of photos, any number of requests continuously after this until you log out, or until up to a particular time, until that session ID expires. So you can send another request, again session ID you can send along with the request, and Google will verify, and or the server will verify and return you the data. So see, we have sorted out the problem that we don't have to give the username and password again and again. So the user experience will be amazing. User doesn't know what happens in the background, but still it is safe because this authorization is happening perfect with the session ID. Okay, so now there may be a small issue why that explains why we need a JWT token based authentication. Okay, let's say, okay, the system works like this, okay, there's a system that works like this, everything is fine. Now let's say we have an issue. Okay, we can edit here, okay, right. Okay, let's say this Google or the company or server, this whoever this service provider has another server. Okay, for example, you can think like this. Okay, let's say I have what shall I say, okay, let's say I have a grocery. Okay, I have grocery where I sell not grocery is not nice, or let's say okay, I have a school, okay, where I have a separate server for students. I have students are there, students are the clients. Let's say I have a server for the students subjects. Okay, for particular students, what kind of subjects he has to follow. Okay, what kind of subjects under his curriculums. And I also have another server in that particular school, anyway, school domain or whatever, that says student, that has students marks for every year from the first year he came until he leaves. Every year marks are stored here. Okay, so he can look into the marks, so he can request for a recorrection, things like that. So this is another server I have, server 2. Okay, okay, so let's say the student now logs in to this server, okay, using his username and password. So I will use a different color. Which color? Okay, purple. Okay, using his username and password, the student logs into the server and he accesses his subjects. Okay, so he gets a session ID and he's trying to see his subject for the first year, and he's getting them because he's verified here, and he's getting those data. And again he's trying to change another subject, another choice, and if he so again he comes with the session ID and he can verify, and the particular table can be edited then, or another data can be retrieved by him. Everything is fine. Now there's a, let's say in that web page there's an option to go and see his marks as well. He wants to see his last year marks of the exams. Okay, but that is running in a separate server. Now if he goes with the session ID here, he may not be able to be verified again, because the session ID verification table is here, right, in this server, okay. So if he wants to go to this server again, he has to give his username and password, and there is a table for that username and password verification. There should be a table, and things like that has to be happening. Okay, if we have 30 separate servers, every time he clicks, maybe we have UIs for, let's say we have another UI to see the student's personal details. Okay, edit it, and that if the student clicks that in that same UI, let's say if it is running in another server, again he has to log in, because the session ID will not work with that server, because that is stored in here only, in the first server only. Okay, that kind of thing can happen, right? And the user, that means that particular table and the user data, everything has to be stored, everything is stored in this table only. So if you want to make it happen with every server, and if you don't want him to give username and password every time when he logs into every server, what you can do is, this table, this data, session ID and the user data, should be saved in every server, so that the session ID can be verified. Okay, you get this, right? But that is not a nice thing. Okay, so here, to sort this issue out, so what I'm saying is, you have a common UI, right? Common website for the students. From that website, he can click and he can see his subjects. That is in one server. He can click another button and he can see his marks. That's in another server. He can click another button and he can see his personal details. That's in another server. So for him, there's one UI. But backend, let's say we have 3 different servers. So once he gets login and gets one session ID token from this first server, this server, once he click this one, he may have to log in again, because the session ID data is not here. Or in another way, once he clicks and log into the first server and the session ID is given, we have to update every server with the same session ID and the user data here, so that he can be verified every time if he clicks the second server, he will send the session ID, and again that same table should be in the second server and third server, then he can be verified. So that will be also a painful thing. Here comes JWT token to sort out the issues. Okay guys, so let's see how it works in the next video. Hello everyone, so this is the continuity of the last video. So we have been trying to understand the fundamentals of JWT token and why it is needed and the basics of it. Okay, I'll tell there may be some issues, there may be some minor errors in the explanation, but the basic concept is same. Okay, so you can just try to get the basic idea in a fundamental level, and you can look into more videos that can explain it in a more high level or a deep level, in a deep level. Okay, in that videos, you can look videos which explain these things, JWT things, in a more detailed or more techy ways. Okay, so we stopped here. So we planned, okay, we don't want to store this session data or user data along with the session ID in every service. That may not be possible to us. Okay, so there our session ID approach fails or has an issue. So there again JWT come to the picture to help us. Okay, so let's see how it works. So again, this is our, okay, let's draw it in black. This is our client. Okay, this is our server. Okay, the student and school. Okay, and let's say we have another service, server 2 maybe, and server 3, any number of servers, no problem. So this is for, let's say, exam, and this is for maybe details. No, okay, so this server is for subjects. Who cares? Okay, so let's say user has this UI, a small UI, let's say, and maybe he can look at the subjects here. Maybe he can look on this, what we call exams, or maybe, okay, fine, and details, anything. UI is there. This is the user interface. Maybe when he clicks, he automatically goes to the subjects while he logs in, something like that. You can think of it. Okay, now he clicks and he logs in. Initial request goes, so he has to give his username and password. Yes or no? Yes. Okay, then here, as I said, there will be a database where the verification happens. this username and password is being verified, and it says okay, he is passed. That means the user is there. Okay, now we don't want to give a session ID. Instead of that, we have to give a JWT token to the user. Okay, wait, so how we are going to do it is a question. Okay, so here for that we have a hashing mechanism. Okay, so what is a hashing mechanism? Okay, before that, let's say, okay, before that, what we are now trying to do is we are checking okay, this user is a user. Okay, his username according to the server is this, or he may have a user ID in the server database, and okay, he may have a role. Okay, things like that. Yes or no? Maybe in another table they can access those things, and then they take all the data. They, let's say in a JSON format or whatever, they take all the data. Okay, maybe username is Jack, user ID is 123, and role is, let's say, admin. They take all the data and they use this data to create a secret key to send along with the JWT token. Okay, so they take all this data, right, every string value and everything that is included in the data, and they are creating a JWT token. To create the JWT token, let's say they have a magic box. Okay, so all this data is being passed, the Jack, JACK, and this user ID 123 and the role admin, everything is as a character. Everything is a character, right? Even if they are string, they are character, set of characters, right, being passed through a magic box, and a secret key is created. Okay, secret key, okay, to be added as a main part of the JWT token. Okay, so this is the magic box. They have some caching algorithms. Okay, caching in the sense they do some changes, or they do some calculation, and they come out with the secret key. Okay, in the caching, let's say for example, I'm just saying, okay, username is Jack and the user ID is 1. Okay, then they may take the first letter of the J. Okay, and first letter J, right? So J is the 10th letter of English. Okay, so then they may multiply the 10 by another 10, 100. Okay, and they may add the user ID along with the 100 plus 1, so that will be 101. Okay, so 101 will be your secret key, but nobody knows what is this caching algorithm. Only the server knows, or only the server side people, or the whoever the service providers will know it. But this is our magic key, this is our caching algorithm. So it will not be a number, actually it will be a set of characters and numbers. It will be a lengthy string. So nobody knows what is our magic key, what is our caching algorithms, except us. Okay, but we will create a secret key from that. Okay, and then we will create a JW token using the secret key. Okay, so the token will have a few parts. Okay, but some people, okay, so and that will be totally encoded, right? So you can remember in the token, so let's say this is the JW token you have. In the token, your data will be there. Okay, it will be encoded base 64 or whatever, I don't know. Your particular data will be added there, right? Okay, so data, and there is some header also. Let's not worry about that. Data will be added in an encoded format, and your secret key also will be added mainly. Okay, okay, so together the JWT token will be created. Okay, secret key will be also added. Okay, and this will be sent to the user. Okay, so JWT token will be sent to the user. So I don't give you a session ID, I will give you JWT token. Okay, and this magic box will be stored as a common one in all the servers, or in other words, all the servers can access this magic box. Or in another word, let's not say that like this, or we can say all the servers have the same magic box, or in another word we can say in every server we will keep the same hashing algorithm. Okay, you will see keep the same hashing algorithm. Okay, only in one place it is stored, that's all, every server. Now the JWT token is here. Okay, that has the user data in an encoded format plus the secret key that is created using the exact user data, but nobody knows what is the algorithm to create it. Okay, now let's say the user is sending a GET request to see his subjects to the same server. So now the JWT token will come back, okay, with the request, GET request. Remember, in this case, since the user data also sent along with the JWT token to the user, we don't store it anywhere in this server, like how we stored it in the session ID, right? We store this here, right, to verify every time, isn't it? But JWT token, no, we don't. JWT, when we send the JWT token, we don't store it along with the user ID, or we don't store the secret key along with the user ID in the server side. No, we don't do it here for verification. Okay, we don't do. Okay, so keeping it this way, we'll continue from the next video, guys. Hello everyone. So we were looking in the JWT token. Let's continue from where we left last time. So I was saying we don't store this data to verification. When the user comes again with that session ID or JWT token, we verify it right here, right? So in JWT token, we don't do this. We don't store what is the user ID or username or role and respective JWT token so that we can verify. No, we don't do that. Or secret key, we don't store. So how we verify is, when he comes back to the JWT token, that means that token itself has the user data that we didn't store in the server. Okay, it was sent to the client side. Now when the JWT token is coming back along with the request, the JWT token itself has the data. That means what is the username or user ID, what is his role, and also the secret key. Everything we stored in the previous scenario now will be coming in the JWT token itself. So now how we can verify it in the server side? To verify it, we have a magic box, isn't it? Okay, so just think, if the user data, okay, that means this user data is passed through this cache, okay, we got a secret key, right? Okay, now we have this magic box, caching box. Also we are getting a JWT token that has this particular data and also a secret key that we sent earlier. Okay, so now what we do is, okay, we will take the secret key. Okay, let's say we will decode and we will take the secret key first and keep it in. Okay, and okay, we have the secret key that the user is now bringing. Okay, when he send a request, he is saying, okay, see, this is the JWT token you gave, please keep it. And there he has a secret token key. So what does he means is, this is a secret key you gave to me, the server gave to me through in the JWT token. User says that, client says that, so we have it from the JWT token. And also we take the data as well, we keep them separately. That means user says to us, to the server, okay, this is the secret key you gave to me, and user says to the server, this is the user data you gave to me, my role ID or user ID, my role and everything, both are in JWT token, take it. Now the server, we are not sure, we have to validate it whether it's correct or not. We have to verify it because we don't know, we can get a fake request. We have to verify this is the same user with the username and password. This is the same JWT token we gave him, so that we can verify or authenticate the user to give him the photos through the GET request. Okay, now we have that. So what we will do is, we also have a magic box, right? Okay, and what is the meaning is, when I created the JWT token as a server from the server side, let's say I am the server, I'm the service provider. When I created the JWT token, okay, I know when I pass the data, this particular data, this number 2, through the magic box, okay, I should get this particular secret key as an outcome that the user gave. Okay, then only I annexed them together, and as a JWT token I gave him. Now he's bringing them back to me and telling me, this is data, this is the secret key you gave to me. But I only know the magic to create the secret key from the data. Okay, so what I will do is, I will take the number 2, that means data, and again I will pass the data through my magic box. That I only know what is inside the magic box, the caching algorithm. And the magic box will give me a secret key, okay, from this data. Okay, I mean, I took the data user gave and I create the secret key again that I gave in the JWT token already. So I should get the same token I got in the first scenario, right? Because the data is same, user data, the username and role ID and everything, right? Role and user ID and all. So now I take the data that user gave and I created the secret key again. Okay, because I only know how to create it, user doesn't know, because I only have the magic box, my own magic box. Now I have the generated secret key from the user given data. Okay, let's say number 3. Okay, and also user also says, see man, number 1. Okay, see, this is the data and this is the number 2 is the data, number 1 is the secret key that you gave to me, user say to me. Okay, see man, you are the server, number 2 is the data you gave to me, and number 1 is the secret key you generated and gave it to me at the first login. Okay, user says it. Okay, so now I will take the number 1 and compare with the number 3 that I created now using the same magic box. You get the point? If both are same, what is the meaning of it? The user has given the correct secret key, because he doesn't know to create the secret key from the data, because I only have the magic box. So if he has given the correct secret key, that means I have given it to him already. When? During the first scenario, this scenario. So that means he is the correct user, authorized user. He gave me the username and password and got it. Okay, so this is how this JWT token is verified, guys, in a very beautiful way, because I only have the magic box, the server only has the magic box. Then you can proceed further. The same scenario is, then I will return. Then what I will do is, once it's verified, I will take the user data, okay, that the user gave. I am sure that he is the exact user, and I will take the number 2 user data, and I will have a database and table, okay, for this user, or for this user ID, and for this role. See, I don't even store those things in my tables like earlier, whether he can access these photos or not. Okay, if he can access the photos, I will give him the photos. Okay, you get it? Nice. So if in case I'm sorry, if he wants to set another request, again he will send it with the JWT token that he has received in the first time. See, it may be stored in the, so whatever this, if it's a browser, it may be stored in the browser and sent along with the request, if he sent another post request or delete request. Or if he is using any terminals, he may get the JWT token and he may send the command along with the JWT tokens with the proper format. We don't care about it now. Again, the same scenario will happen, same level of validation. Okay, because JWT token is like a promise from the user. See, this is the data, this is the secret key that you gave me. Oh, I take the data, pass through my magic box, I created the secret key and compare whether the user given secret key and the newly created secret key are same or not, equal or not. If it is equal, I know I have already given him the secret key in the first login, so he is the correct user, because he doesn't have the magic box to create the exact secret key from the data, exact data. So now let's come to the problem. So now the issue is, we don't store the user ID, role and the session ID or JWT ID token in the server 1 to verify. Okay, we just get it from the client itself, JWT token itself, we get it and verify. So that was the problem we had in the first scenario, right? Session ID, because we had to store it in every place. Now again, if he clicks other server, other UI, where he has to test his marks, exam marks, yes or no? Yes. Now again, the JWT token will be sent to this server. Okay, so that JWT token will have the user's data. What is the data? Username, role and all those things, this table thing. We don't have to store it here, because it is sent along with the JWT token itself, along with the secret key. So to verify the secret key, here also I have my magic box, the same magic box, same caching algorithm. So he also will do the same thing that he did, the first server did. Why? He will take the data and maybe he will decode and take this data and what we call secret key separately from the JWT token, and since he has the magic box, he will pass the data through that, and he will take the newly generated secret key because he has the magic box, and now he will compare this with this, because from our magic rule is for this data this secret key should come. Okay, so since this and this are same, if so, then we know we only had the magic box. So since the user has found the secret key for this particular data, that means we only have given him earlier once when he logged in. So that means he is a verified user. Then he will be authorized. Whatever he requests, his marks, exam marks, will be given to him. The same also will happen the third server as well. Okay guys, so I hope you got that context. I will catch you up in the next video guys. Thanks again guys.